All right, so you want to sound more like a native English speaker?
Hmm.
Well, let's dive right into this deep dive on English pronunciation. It can feel like a mountain to climb, all those rules and sounds, but trust me, there are some surprisingly fast ways to make real progress, like really quickly.
You know what? You're so right. Often people kind of overlook pronunciation, but it is seriously crucial for clear communication.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, think about it. Even tiny little errors can lead to some pretty big
Oh, I
misunderstandings.
can imagine.
Yeah, like, saying beach instead of,
Yeah.
it's just one little vowel sound, but it makes a world of difference.
Oops. Right.
And beyond individual words, there's this whole other layer of pronunciation that's about like the rhythm and the stress and the intonation of English.
Okay.
And mastering those things, that's what really makes you sound natural. Plus, it honestly helps you understand native speakers better, too.
So it's a win-win. Confidence, A&D, comprehension. Okay, so let's break it down. Why is good pronunciation so important? Beyond just avoiding those awkward moments.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. Confidence is huge, GE. When you know you're pronouncing things well, you just feel more comfortable speaking up. You're not, like, second-guessing yourself all the time.
Right. It frees you up to actually, focus on expressing yourself.
Exactly. And the cool thing is that it works both ways. The better your pronunciation gets, the easier it becomes to understand other people speaking English. It's like your ears get tuned in.
Makes sense.
So,
Okay, let's get real for a second. Everyone makes pronunciation mistakes, right?
of course.
Yeah.
It's part of the learning process. No matter what your native language is, there are going to be some English sounds that just like twist your tongue.
Right. So what are some of those notorious troublemakers? I'm guessing the fuff sounds are high on the list.
You got it. The fuff sounds, those are classic.
They get everyone.
So many languages don't have those sounds at all, so it's like starting from scratch.
And where's your tongue supposed to go?
Exactly. And the thing is, there are two th sounds. There's the voiced one, like in this, and the unvoiced one, like in think.
Oh, so there are nuances even within the thuth.
Totally. Another big one is long versus short vowels.
Oh, yeah. Those can be tricky.
Think about ship versus sheep. It's just the length of the vowel that changes the meaning.
Right, right. One wrong vowel, and you've got a whole different word and maybe a whole different meaning.
Uh-huh.
No.
Yeah. And that's why vowel length is so crucial in English.
Okay, so thuths sounds vowels. What other pronunciation pitfalls are lurking out there?
Well, word endings can be tough too. Some people tend to drop those final sounds like the S or ed, saying I like it instead of I liked it.
Oh, yeah.
Changes the tense, changes the meaning. Small details, big impact.
For sure, for sure.
And then there's word stress. English has this thing where some syllables are stronger, some are weaker.
Okay.
And if you stress the wrong part of a word, it can sound a little off.
Like you're speaking a whole different language almost.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay, so we've covered some of the common suspects in English pronunciation. But the good news is we're all about solutions here.
Right. Let's move on to the fun stuff.
So what are some of the fastest and most effective ways to improve? Techniques we can use, like right now.
All right, I've got some good ones for you. Let's start with something you can literally do anywhere, anytime. Shadowing. Have you heard of that?
Shadowing, yeah, I've heard of it. I'm curious to hear more about it, yeah.
It's like your pronunciation detective. You listen to like a podcast or a movie clip, whatever you enjoy, and you basically try to copy the speaker's pronunciation exactly like their shadow.
Oh, I see. That's why it's called shadowing.
And it
But
works.
how does that actually help your pronunciation?
Because you're forced to pay super close attention to all the sounds, the rhythm, the way the speaker's voice goes up and down.
Oh, okay.
All those little details. And since you're not worrying about grammar or vocabulary, you can really zero in on just the pronunciation itself.
Right, like a workout for your tongue and your ears.
Exactly. And you don't need any fancy equipment, just something to listen to. Easy peasy.
Okay, so shadowing is a definite winner for quick improvement. What else have you got?
All right, this one might be a little scary for some people, but it's super helpful. Record yourself speaking.
Oof, yeah. I can see why that might be a bit intimidating, but I guess it's kind of like holding a mirror up to your pronunciation, right?
Exactly. You might hear things you didn't even realize you were doing. Like maybe you drop certain word endings or your intonation is a little flat.
Yeah. It's all about that self-awareness, that critical listening.
Right. Once you know what to work on, you can target it specifically.
So shadowing and self-recording. What other tricks do you have up your sleeve?
This one often gets overlooked, but it's important. Pay attention to how your mouth and tongue are moving.
Okay. That's interesting.
Some English sounds need very specific mouth movements,
I can imagine, yeah.
and they might be totally different from what you're used to in your native language. Practicing in front of a mirror can be a game changer for this. You can actually see what your mouth is doing.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. So we can compare to a native speaker and adjust.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mirrors are your friend.
Okay, mirror practice is added to the list. What about technology? Can technology help?
Oh, absolutely. There are tons of apps and websites these days that can give you instant feedback on your pronunciation.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, some even use AI to analyze your speech and pinpoint areas to work on.
Wow, that's amazing. Which ones do you recommend?
I really like Elsa Speak. It's like having a pronunciation coach right in your pocket.
Nice. Any others?
And then there's Forvo, which is basically a giant pronunciation dictionary. You can hear real native speakers say any word you can think of.
So we've got Elsa for personalized coaching and Forvo for hearing authentic pronunciation.
You got it. And don't forget about YouTube. There are some awesome channels like Rachel's English and BBC Learning English.
Oh yeah, those are classics.
Hmm.
Super helpful and entertaining too.
Yeah, they break things down in a really clear way.
So we've got shadowing, self-recording, mirror practice, and a whole world of tech tools at our disposal.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good start.
It is. But remember, just knowing the techniques isn't enough.
Well,
We've got to make them a part of our daily lives.
okay, that's where the real magic happens, turning knowledge into action. I like it. So how do we do that? How do we turn these techniques into habits that actually stick?
That's what we're going to explore in part 2 of this deep dive. Stay tuned.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got all these cool pronunciation techniques, but like you said, the real challenge is actually using them, making them a part of our lives.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? How do we actually build those habits?
Well, I think the key is finding ways to kind of sneak pronunciation practice into your everyday routine. Like make it a natural part of your day.
Okay, I like that. Sneaking in.
So one of my favorite things to do is something called minimal pairs practice.
Minimal pairs. What are those? Refresh my memory.
Those are words that sound almost the same, except for one tiny sound difference, like ship and sheep, or bat and bet.
Yeah, I got it.
And by practicing those pairs, you're training your ear to hear the difference in your mouth to make it. And the cool thing is you can do this anywhere, anytime.
Oh, that's great. So I could be like walking the dog and thinking, okay, cat, cut, pen, pan.
Exactly. It's like a little pronunciation workout for your brain.
I love it. Okay, what other habits can we build?
Another one that's super effective but might feel a little weird at first is slow motion speaking. Basically, you slow down your speech and really exaggerate each sound.
Slow motion speaking. Interesting.
Yeah, it's like putting your pronunciation under a microscope. You can really focus on the mechanics of each sound.
I could see that. Any other quirky techniques you like?
Yeah.
Ones that might sound weird but actually work?
Oh, I've got one for you. Have you ever heard of the pencil technique?
Pencil technique. What is that?
You hold a pencil horizontally between your teeth and try to speak clearly.
A pencil. Seriously, I'm picturing myself looking pretty ridiculous, but hey, if it works.
It does. It forces you to over-articulate and really engage those mouth muscles. And then when you take the pencil out, you'll find that you speak more clearly even without it.
Okay, the pencil technique. It is. I'll try anything once. And of course, there's the mirror method. We talked about that before, but it's worth mentioning again.
Absolutely. Mirrors are like a pronunciation learner's best friend. They give you that visual feedback so you can see how your mouth is moving.
Right. And we can compare our mouth movements to a native speaker's and try to match them. It's like having a personal pronunciation coach right there in your bathroom.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got minimal pairs, slow motion speaking, the pencil technique, and mirror practice. What else can we add to our daily routine?
Ooh, I have one. What about reading aloud with emotion?
Oh, I love that one. That's such a good way to bring your pronunciation to life.
Right, like pick a passage, you enjoy a poem, a story, anything. You just really ham it up, put some feeling into it.
Yes. And when you do that, you naturally improve your intonation, your rhythm, and even your pronunciation. It's like you're not even focusing on it, but it's getting better.
I love that. It's like tricking yourself into improving your pronunciation.
Exactly. And the more you do all these things, the more natural they'll become. You'll find yourself paying attention to your pronunciation, even in everyday conversations, without even thinking about it.
Yeah, it will just become second nature, like muscle memory.
Exactly. Oh, and speaking of muscle memory, what about tongue twisters? Those are classic for a reason.
Tongue twisters, yeah. I've always loved those. A little frustrating sometimes, but fun.
They're a great way to target specific sounds and really get your mouth moving.
She sells seashells by the seashore. That one never gets old. Still trips me up every time.
Classic. You can find tons of tongue twisters online, too, for all sorts of different sounds. It's a good way to challenge yourself. So we've got minimal pairs, slow motion speaking, the pencil technique, mirror practice, reading aloud with emotion, and tongue twisters. That's quite the pronunciation toolkit.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Anything else we should keep in mind as we're practicing?
Two things I think are super important. Number one, be patient. Pronunciation improvement takes time. Don't get discouraged if you don't see results right away.
Oh, that's so important, yeah. I think it's easy to get caught up in wanting to be perfect, you know?
Totally. But language learning is a journey, not a destination.
That's a good way to put it. What was the second thing?
Make it fun. Find ways to enjoy the process. If you're having fun, you're way more likely to stick with it.
For sure. If it feels like a chore, you're not going to want to do it.
Yeah.
But if it's fun and engaging, it's like, yeah, let's practice some pronunciation.
Exactly. And as you start to see progress, you'll naturally feel more confident, which will make you even more motivated to keep going. It's a positive cycle.
I love that. The positive reinforcement.
And don't be afraid to reach out to other learners too. Find a language partner, join a conversation group, share your goals online.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Like, find a community of people who are going through the same thing.
Exactly. It's always more fun to learn together. So we've got our daily habits, we're being patient, we're making it fun, and we're connecting with other learners. I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah, this has been a really helpful deep dive. What's next? So we've got all this knowledge about how to improve our English pronunciation. We've got the techniques, the strategies, the habits. But now, like, how do we actually put it all together?
You know, it's like we've given you all the ingredients for a delicious meal, but now you got to get in the kitchen and start cooking.
Yeah, make it our own.
So how do we take all this and turn it into like our own personal pronunciation journey? Well, first things first, you got to figure out what your own personal pronunciation challenges are. What are those sounds or those patterns that trip you up?
Yeah, like, what are my pronunciation quirks?
Exactly. Maybe it's the fee sounds, maybe it's linking words together smoothly. Once you know what to focus on, then you can pick the techniques that will help you the most.
Right, like use the right tool for the job.
Exactly. If you're struggling with the th sounds, maybe mirror practice and tongue twisters are your go-to.
Yeah.
Or if linking is tough, shadowing and slow motion speaking might be more helpful.
It's all about, like, personalizing your approach.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment a little. Try a different thing. See what works best for you.
Yeah, find what you enjoy.
Make it your own. So yeah, you've got to personalize it, but you've also got to be consistent. That's key with anything, right?
Yeah, consistency is everything.
Even just 10, 15 minutes a day of dedicated practice can make a huge difference over time.
That's not so bad. I can definitely find 10 minutes here and there, like while I'm waiting for the bus or something.
Exactly. Little pockets of time.
But also remember to be patient, right?
Yeah.
It's a journey, not a race.
So true. Some days you'll feel like you're making amazing progress, and other days it'll feel like you're stuck.
Yeah, that's totally normal.
Just keep practicing, keep experimenting, and celebrate those small wins along the way. Oh, and another thing, don't be afraid to connect with other learners. Find a language partner, join a conversation group, or share your progress online.
That's such a good idea. Like, find a community of people who get it.
It's always more fun to learn with others. You can support each other, share tips, and celebrate each other's successes.
So true. It's like having a built-in cheer squad. Okay, so we've got our personalized plan, we're being consistent, we're patient, and we're connecting with other learners.
That's the recipe for pronunciation success right there.
Love it.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a little challenge.
Ooh, I love a challenge.
I want you to pick one specific sound that you want to master this week. Just one. Maybe it's the R sound, maybe it's the dreaded ESS, whatever's been bugging you. Choose that sound and make it your focus. Practice it every day using all the techniques we've talked about.
Great idea. I think I'm going to tackle the L sound. That one always trips me up.
Perfect. Now go out there and practice and let us know how it goes. Share your progress in the comments. We'd love to hear about your pronunciation victories.
That's it for this deep dive on English pronunciation. We hope you've enjoyed the journey and that you're feeling inspired to take your pronunciation to the next level. Until next time, happy practicing.